911, what's the address of the emergency?
The address that I'm at, Walk Circle, but I need to file a missing persons report.
Okay, and when was she last seen?
Well, by me, it was Thursday morning. I left for work at 7 a.m. She left sometime between 7:30 and 8, and I have not seen her since.
This is Jeanine Catanzaro. She was reported missing by her husband, Joseph Traeger, on December 29, 2018. According to Joseph, the last time he saw Jeanine was on November 29, just before he left for work that morning. Police found his account strange, as it meant he had waited more than 3 days before filing the missing persons report. What raised further suspicion was Joseph's demeanor. He showed little emotion over his wife's disappearance, and even during interviews with the local news, he remained disturbingly calm and indifferent.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Absolutely not. Listen, I've had the police here 3 different times, crime scene investigators. They went through the house. There's nothing, whatchamacallit, nothing for me to be suspect of, you know.
Joseph and Jeanine had been married for over 10 years. Joseph had an extensive criminal history that went back almost 30 years and involved committing crimes in multiple states. Joseph had a violent temper as well, and his lifelong addiction to heroin did not help his battle with anger. Jeanine had filed multiple police reports against her husband, claiming domestic violence, yet she continued to stay, hoping that one day their relationship could be repaired. With all of this information, the police requested that Joseph come in and take a lie detector test because they wanted to see if Joseph had anything to do with the disappearance.
And would it be okay to call you?
If who needs to talk to me?
We need to.
You can call me anytime you want. I've got nothing to hide.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. I mean, listen, I know this whole situation does not look great. I get that. But at the same time, if I was responsible for anything with it, you guys would never have found me. And I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
So,
You have anything else?
what time is it?
It's 3:40.
You said this was going to be quick.
Yeah. Okay, let's just for now.
We get up.
It's like we don't even touch the ground, so it's not very effective.
Joseph would fail the lie detector test. All the evidence and information the police had will lead to Joseph. They would need a confession from him to charge him with anything. There was still the possibility that Jeanine was tired of the toxic and abusive relationship, and she had decided to leave. This still seemed very unlikely as the home the couple lived in belonged to only Jeanine, and she had many friends and family members who also had not heard from her. The investigators on this case decided to have Joseph come back in, so they could see if they could get him to confess as to what actually happened to his wife.
Lock that in. Done deal. Done deal. Indisputable at this point in time. Gavel comes down. End of the show. The end. Star Spangled Banner 1975. TV goes off. You know how that worked. That's it. It's over. Now, what happens from here is still affectable. We can still affect how we move forward.
No.
Yes, we can.
How?
Listen, you firmly believe, you said this to me, I'm not walking out of here tonight. But if that was the case, why are we still sitting here? Why am I still sitting here with you talking to you? Why am I wasting my time if I don't need to? Why am I wasting my time? This is done. I don't need to sit here. I got to be back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. My shift starts at 8. Why am I still sitting here talking to you if this was over? That makes no sense to me. Write it up, done, walk away. You know why? Because I go home.
Joe, tell us what happened.
Interrogators have a variety of strategies when it comes to getting a confession, and every detail is carefully planned before the suspect even enters the room. From the placement of the chairs to the room's temperature, everything is designed with intention. In Joseph's case, they're dealing with a seasoned criminal with a long history of violent behavior. They know that appealing to his emotions won't work. Instead, they need to turn the tables and intimidate a man who has spent his life doing just that. To gain the upper hand, they outnumber him 2 against 1. The detectives adopt an aggressive, forceful tone, knowing this is the only approach Joseph understands. If they came at him softly, showing empathy, he'd see them as nothing more than prey.
You arrived at that house. After you arrived at that house, she never left again. She didn't show up to the doctor. She didn't show up to the gym. The doctor was a life-threatening appointment. If she doesn't show up to, she could die. Her phone goes dead, all at the time you arrived at the house Wednesday morning. Tell us what happened. Tell us what happened.
There's nothing to tell.
I don't understand how you can sit here, look at me and Josh,
Tell us what happened.
and say that. Tell us what happened.
At this point, just tell us.
What happened?
Nothing to tell.
There's absolutely something to tell, and you want to tell it.
What do you mean I want to tell it?
You want to tell
If
it.
there was something to tell, I'd tell you.
There is 100% something to tell, and you want to tell it, and you'll feel better when you tell it.
No.
So let's get there. Let's do it together. Let's do it.
Listen, there's no let's do it together. There's no...
Of
No,
course.
you're right. You're right. You know what? You're right.
What?
There's no let's do it together. You know why? Because we don't need it. And we can't tell it. We can't tell it, Joe. We can't tell it. We can't tell. We don't have anything to tell together. You're absolutely 100% right.
You got your story, and you're
No,
going to stick to it.
no, we don't have a story, Joe. We have facts. The facts
All
tell
right,
the
you
story.
got your facts that tell the story, and you're sticking to it.
No, I'm not sticking to it. The facts stick to it. I don't change the facts.
What do you want us to do with the
The
facts?
facts don't change, Joe. We can't.
The facts.
We can't do this to you.
Your facts are wrong.
No, Joe.
Your-
Listen.
your
don't-
facts are wrong.
Joe, stop for a second. All right. We know the facts are wrong.
Mm.
I'm just going to back up here because this is the point in time where I start to get the. I don't know whether I want to continue having this discussion with you because at this point I'm starting to believe there was one person in all this who said that Joe's a fucking asshole. He don't give a shit about anybody else, and he's not going to tell you any. Oh, by the way, he killed her, and that's the end of it.
The detectives must also consider that Joseph is a heroin addict. Heroin, derived from morphine, can make users feel unusually calm and drowsy, even in high-stress situations. This numbing effect could dull Joseph's emotions, making it much more difficult to get a confession. Knowing this, they understand that intimidation alone might not be enough to break through his indifference. They need to be as forceful and intimidating as possible to crack his hardened exterior. But once they do, the approach must shift to something more sympathetic, creating an opportunity to draw out his real emotions and gain the confession they need.
That person would surprise you, but that's what happened.
That person would surprise me.
Yeah, it was one person in all this said that he did it, he doesn't care, he doesn't have a conscience, and it doesn't matter. And you know what? And we went, well, 10 people saying one thing and this is saying the other one. But you know what? I'm at that point in time right now tonight where I'm starting to go, well, wait a minute. Maybe this is the long shot. Maybe this is the 100 to 1 underdog that had this pegged right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's it. Because I'm getting to the point, John, where I don't need you. I don't need you to do this. I don't need you to sit here. We have it without you. We have it without you. So now I'm getting to the point where I feel like I'm starting to waste my time. And if there's one thing we haven't talked about, it's the fact that I really hate to waste time. I really hate to waste time. I really do. So we're getting to that point where you and I both know that you're not expecting her to come home. That's a done deal. We all know that. You're not expecting her to come home. You remove stickers from the car.
Remove stickers from the car.
You're making changes, in the house. Listen, we know, you and I both know, you're not expecting her to walk in the door. You're not following up with detectable zone on a regular basis like a really concerned person would do. If it was me, I'd be camped out in the lobby all day long. I wouldn't leave.
The detective raises an important observation. Joseph isn't behaving like someone who has just lost the love of their life. Police officers regularly interact with both criminals and innocent victims, giving them insight into how different people respond to tragedy. They have seen how innocent individuals react authentically in distressing situations, contrasting that with the behavior of guilty parties. An innocent person typically reacts emotionally, while a guilty person often acts, unless, of course, they are a skilled actor. Genuine emotions are much more convincing than a facade. Someone who is truly feeling their loss will always stand out against someone who is merely pretending.
We got to dinner tonight, her picture's up on the wall at Outback, and you know what? You went, oh, Jeanine's picture. You're not expecting her to walk back in the door, Joe. You know what I know. At this point in time, everybody who sees this and everybody who looks at this is going to come to the same conclusion. But when it's all said and done, you're going to be left alone on the island, all by yourself, with nobody to help you. And this time, there'll be no more trips to Hard Rock.
Apparently, yeah.
This is the point in time where you have to make a decision. This is decisions now at this point. The decision's now. You're either going to make this right and have a chance.
The detectives adjusted their approach, softening their tone and becoming less aggressive. When a dominant personality encounters another equally dominant figure, the instinct is often to calm the situation rather than continue the intimidation, as neither party enjoys feeling vulnerable. Recognizing that they were nearing a potential confession, the detectives offered Joseph a meal at the local Chick-fil-A. They understood that a suspect is often more inclined to confess when they believe they're receiving something in return, almost like a trade or a reward. During the meal, Joseph began to share what happened on the night of his wife's disappearance.
I've known my wife since we're 9 years old, 10 years old. We've known each other for 40 years. We had financial problems, so all marriages go through problems, nothing major.
You're desperate to get her back home.
Absolutely.
What would it mean to you to get her back home?
It would mean the world to me to get her back. It would mean everything.
This must just hurt you, just tear you apart.
It's killing me. I haven't slept in 3 weeks.
Joseph told the police that he had been taking a shower and, after finishing, he went downstairs to find Jeanine lying on the ground. He claimed that his wife had suffered a seizure and fallen, hitting her head on the kitchen floor. Fearing he would be blamed for her death, Joseph admitted to panicking. He then took Jeanine's body, placed it into 3 large trash bags, and disposed of them in a trash bin that was scheduled to be emptied later that day. The police arrested him as they were leaving the restaurant. Subsequently, Joseph revealed that the seizure story was a fabrication and eventually confessed to the truth about what really happened.
We'll come by your work and drop it off there. Before noon. Let me send them a text right now. I'll do it later. All right, let's go. Send them a text. I'll send the guy that has the text. Tell me we have more. Come on, let's go. You need to get home to your kids. You don't care about that's why I want to leave. Hey, you don't care about my phone. You want your kids. That's true, too. I'm talking about little... She's coming to eat. I understand. I'm holding the door for her. Come on, Joe. Come on, let's go. Come on in. What's up? Hey, Karen, what's up? We're going out. We're trying.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going out.
Let's wait. Come on.
What's up? Oh, come on. Are you serious?
I need to take you to the hospital.
Oh, my God.
Jeanine wanted a divorce from Joseph and, as the owner of their home, she told him he had to move out, which he did. Now homeless and in need of a shower, Joseph asked Jeanine if he could take one at her house. She agreed, but insisted that he leave immediately afterward. After his shower, Joseph pleaded with Jeanine to let him move back in, but she remained firm in her decision. Frustrated by her refusal, Joseph became enraged and sexually assaulted her. Once he was finished, He took her life with a large kitchen knife. Afterward, he cleaned the knife and placed both the weapon and Jeanine's body into 3 large trash bags, which he discarded in a garbage bin on the street. Following the disposal, Joseph drove around in his Honda Civic, waiting for the trash to be collected. After cleaning up any evidence from the home, he spent the rest of the day gambling at the casino.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Absolutely not. Listen, I've had the police here 3 different times, crime scene investigators. They went through the house. There's nothing, nothing for me to be suspect.
Jeanine's body would never be recovered as it was incinerated shortly after being picked up by the trash company. Joseph remains in prison without bail, awaiting his trial. As in most cases of domestic violence, the signs were there, but nothing was done. Even after her family warned her to never be alone with Joseph, and she filed multiple domestic abuse reports against him, it wouldn't be enough to save Jeanine's life.